Continuation of Lesson 2, Sources of History, Part 2. Now we will see about coins, important artifact. Coins are also considered to be an important artifact. If you see the coins of the past, you will find so many different types of coins which were made by different metals. By this, we come to know as the people in the past were familiar with these metals. The metals from which these coins were made. You can take a look on some of the coins over here. Now see, there are 5 different types of coins over here. One is 25 paise, one is 1 rupee. Third one, we don't know what is the value. Fourth, we don't know. And the fifth, we don't know. See, when you see, each coin is different from the other coin. Now this coin, 25 paisa. Now this coin was used during the 19th century, in the year 1992. This coin is a 1 rupee coin. It was used 1942. As the year is inscribed, we can come to know about these coins. But these 3 coins, if you see, there is no proper shape. Every coin is made up of a different metal. The size is different, the shape is different. Here on this coin, some small inscriptions, very small, minutely is written. We cannot read it because we do not know how to read. We are not specialized. Second coin, again some small inscription. We don't know what is that written. Third coin, also there are some inscriptions, somewhat like E. We never know. But the idea behind showing you all these coins is that the coins are made by different metals. This coin shows us that during which period this coin, in the similar way all these coins show us the period in which they were used. Now, even some coins had the images of gods, but not all, whereas some did not have. By this we come to know about the religious beliefs of the people. For example, many European coins found in South India tells us that trade was carried between South Indian kingdoms and European empires in the past. There were good trade relations and trade was carried on between these two kingdoms. Till now, we have seen about monuments, inscriptions, artifacts, coins, all these are grouped under the archaeological sources. Now, we will see about the literary sources. Now, literary sources. Literary sources are the written text from the past. All the written things are said to be literary sources. People in the ancient times wrote on the bark of trees, palm leaves, wooden tablets, and later on gradually on paper also. See, as first they wrote on the bark of trees, then on the leaves, then wooden tablets, and then on paper. Gradually and gradually, as the developments took place, there was development, and then lastly they started writing on paper. Now these written material give us a lot of information about the people, the way of their living, their lifestyle, and many more things. Literary sources can be divided into 3 categories. The first, religious writings. The second, biographies and autobiographies. And the third, account of foreign travelers. First, we will see about religious writings. First category. Now, Hindu religious texts like the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the Buddhist religious texts like Tripitakas are some of the ancient religious texts. Now, as for now, we are not going to have a detailed study of these Vedas and texts, but for you to have a rough idea, I will just give a short explanation. Vedas, which are included in the religious text, it included certain poems. Vedas included poems, hymns, religious beliefs, all these are written in the Vedas. Then next, if we see the Upanishads, again Upanishads are the texts of spiritual teaching and the ideas of Hinduism. In short, all these texts give us information about the religious beliefs of people, their culture, their customs, etc. Example, epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata highlight the traditional values and customs which were followed in ancient India. Now, all of us might be aware of Ramayana and Mahabharata. If we read the Mahabharata and Ramayana, we come to know about the values and customs followed during the ancient India. After completing with the religious text, we will now see about biographies and autobiographies. What means biography and what means an autobiography? Biographies are written, also autobiographies are written, but there is a small difference between them. A biography is the story written by a person for someone else. I repeat, biography is the story written by a person for someone else. Biography written for someone else. For example, if you are writing about your mother, father, that means you are writing a biography. But if you are writing about your own self, about your experiences, your joys, your happy moments, that means here you are writing about your own self and not about somebody else. So here you are writing an autobiography. An autobiography is the writing of the experiences of the writer herself or himself. Biography written about himself or herself. Biography for someone else and autobiography is written about your own self. During the medieval period, many kings started to write their own stories, but some got it written by others, means somebody else wrote about their stories. Now, do you remember which is the medieval period? We have already seen in chapter 1. Medieval period started in the 8th century and continued till the 18th century. The Mughal ruler Babur, he wrote an autobiography. Now, autobiography means what? He wrote about himself. It is named as Babarnama, and in this autobiography, in this book, he wrote the story of his own life. It was written by Babur, so it is known as Babarnama. Then, also we have Abul Fazl. He also wrote, but he did not write about himself. He wrote about Akbar. So here, Abul Fazl has written a biography because he did not write for himself, but he wrote about a different person, about somebody else. Here he has written it for Akbar. So he wrote a biography whose name was Akbarnama. So Akbarnama is the biography written by Abul Fazl, and Babarnama is the autobiography written by Babur. Akbarnama is a biography which was written by Abul Fazl. And Babarnama is an autobiography which was written by Babur himself. Now, through these written biographies and autobiographies, we come to know about the rulers, their kingdoms, their religions they followed, and many other things. These sources help us a lot in knowing many things about the past. After completing with the biographies and autobiographies, now we move on to the last literary source, that is the accounts of foreign travelers. Accounts of foreign travelers. In ancient times, that is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, foreign travelers had come to India and they wrote about their experiences. Fa Hin and Wen Sang were the two Chinese travelers who had visited India during the ancient times. They wrote about all the experiences and impressions about India while they are traveling in their diary in detail. They also wrote about this period which was known as the Gupta period, which was known as the golden age of ancient India. The Gupta period is known as the golden age of ancient India. Gupta period, golden age of ancient India. Now, why this period was called as the golden age? This period was called as the golden age because it was during this period, the Gupta period, that India made large achievements in the field of science and technology, engineering, astronomy, religion, and many other things. And due to all these achievements made during this period of time, it is said to be the golden age of ancient India. Then the next traveler is Huan Sang. Huan Sang wrote in detail about India during the rule of King Harshvardhana. Now, this traveler had visited India to gain knowledge of Buddhism and also collect some religious texts. When he returned to China, he wrote a detailed description about India in his book. Now, in this detailed description, what did he describe? He described about the dresses of people, the food they ate, the festivals they celebrated, and also about the monuments during that period of time. Now we have completed about with the literary sources as well as the archaeological sources. The literary sources are classified here again into three, that is the religious writings, the biographies and accounts of foreign travelers. We have studied in detail about all of the three of them.